Hey, this is Wolf from Armoury-Terrain, and this is my 100th video on YouTube. Happy days. Now, originally I thought I might make some more mushrooms or something funky like that, but then I decided that I'm in a Star Wars mood at the moment, so without leaving my workshop, I'm going to scrounge around for parts and build a lightsaber. Yes, one of those laser swords. But not just any laser sword, one that contains this mag rip-off torch in it. Yes, it does light up. Because then, instead of just being an ornament sitting on the desk, it will have some purpose. Now, from what Wikipedia says, yes, Wikipedia, like the tall walking hair rug, the Jedi numbered about 10,000 at the start of the Clone Wars. That includes Masters, Knights and Padawans, but not younglings. And each Jedi designed and built their own lightsaber. So that's 10,000 different lightsabers. Now I'm going to insert a picture of a poster I have that has a bunch of movie lightsabers on it. So as you can see by that, there's lots of different ones just in the movies. So I'm not going to be constrained to make any specific lightsaber. I'm going to make my own one. So I'm going to have a scrounge around, and when I find my parts, I'll come back and show you what I'm going to build with. Okay, after scouring my workshop for a good 10 minutes or so, I found some polypipe that I've cut up, and this I made sure was big enough that the torch will fit into. Now the only thing I've done off camera is drilled a hole for where the torch button will be and a hole in the end cap, which the only specialist stuff that I'm really using for this build is this eyelet, which came from an old woodworking job long ago. In addition to the PVC, I've cut some of it into thinner rings and then split it so I can force it over the top of the other pipe. I'll be using some plastic canvas. Back in the day we used to call this granny grating. It's used for embroidery. And some gutter guard. I'm liking the texture on this piece, so I might add some, just so it's not a brushed silver lightsaber like everyone else has got. Okay, now for the assembly, which is the fun part, right? This ring here, which I still have to clean some sticky label off, obviously goes through the end pipe and bolts on. Now I'm only going to pressure fit all of this together to start with before I come back and glue things on. So that's a nice tight fit. It's not centered and I don't really care. It's going to be a torch that sits on my desk. Now the cap goes on the short piece. Also on the short piece goes this split piece. Hopefully I can get it back on. It was a bit of a struggle when I tested it. Okay, so that's going to glue on halfway, and then this piece will sit into it. Why is it going to glue on halfway? Well, to get into this torch, change batteries, I've got to take the end off. Like so. And if I build it all the way into the lightsaber, as soon as these batteries die, it stops being a usable torch. So by having this piece on here, I'll be able to detach it and still get into the torch. I might need to, when I decide which side I'm going to glue it to, just take the corners off to make it easier to go on. I then have 3 more of these rings, which I'm going to slide on the top, I'm pretty sure. And I'm going to line all of them up so they match the hole. These rings were meant to be the same size, and then I didn't use a fence on the bandsaw, and they're not the same size. Oh well. They're going to work well enough. So I'm liking the look of this so far. It's just a matter of deciding where I'm going to put this texture, and also where I'm going to add this. Now, I may or may not use some of this craft foam to put some ridges on it, because it's pretty much as thick as the end cap. So I could put the traditional, ridges that you see on a lot of the Star Wars pieces, or I could just run it up like that to seal it so you can't see where the joins are. Decisions. Or I might cut a better piece that's actually level to do that with. This is just an offcut. Okay, I'm going to add tape to this, the electrical tape, around both this end and the butt end, so it goes into the pipe and sits snugly. Because after all, no point having it rattling around. Okay, every now and again when you're wrapping like this, stop and test it. There's nothing so depressing as, putting it on lots and lots of layers and then finding out it doesn't fit. Okay, so that needs a bit more, and then it's also going to have some tape around there. So I'm going to do that, put this together, and then show you how it looks before painting. So, welcome back. This is where we're at with the lightsaber build currently. So it's all put together, and yes, it still comes apart so I can get the batteries out of the torch. But the question is, will the torch turn on? The answer is yes, it will, but it's fiddly at the moment. So what I'm thinking is, I'm going to take the torch out and paint it so I don't get paint on there. And then I'm going to make a small button with a hinge that goes down. So it'll just be a click button. And I think that'll fix the problem. And then I will have my very own lightsaber. Yes, I've built lightsabers for other people in the past, but never for myself. So this will be my first one ever. And then it'll be a matter of working out what sort of display stand I want. So let's paint this, build the button, and I'll show you how it looks when it's all finished. Okay, thank you for watching this far in the video. What we have here is the finished lightsaber, or as finished as I'm going to do it right now. And yes, it still turns on. And the switch I've used is just a block of foam with part of a chopstick through it and an upholstery nail on the outside to be the button. So, is it the best looking lightsaber ever? No, it's not. Am I happy with it? Yes, I am. Would I put it in the background of a film? Yes. I mean, it fits my hand, which is all it needs to do. And more importantly, it still comes apart so I can get the batteries out of the torch and change it. Okay, the stand that it's sitting on is just a piece of MDF moulding that I picked up from Bunnings once upon a time. Kaiser Craft is the company that makes it, and it has a nice beveled edge on it. I then cut 2 pieces of dowel and screwed 2 half pieces of polypipe to the top, which I then lined with felt. Now I know we've had a lot of Star Wars projects recently on this channel, but please rest assured it's not becoming a Star Wars channel. I do have another half dozen sci-fi and Star Wars specific projects in the next couple of months, but I will be spacing them out with mushroom builds and other fun things. So I can promise from now on, for the next 20 videos, you won't get 2 Star Wars videos in a row. Promise. Anyway, this is Wolf from Armoury-Terrain saying, go and make something.